Hey guys, Tom here. Well, I think there's been a couple attacks here and there, and some uh, some incursions, but not anything major. Um, so again, I believe it's still getting better. Some of the messages I was getting yesterday was not really all that inspiring, and it sort of made me look at it and go, "Well, gee whiz, maybe the lesson is you're alone, and you have no one, and and you never will, or something like that." Because of complications, as though, like, perhaps, you're an alien, completely, totally alien to everything there and around you and all that you experience. You're just a visitor. The only reason why you came was to witness it and leave or something. It sort of feels that way. It does. Because it seems like so many of the connections that we make, uh, it seems complicated, an awful lot of these things, to me anyway. And I heard that story again the other day about it doesn't matter, it's like, everyone always becomes jealous, or something, or they always become jealous, rather. And I'm thinking, how? How? I mean, jealous is, wanting what like you have, not covetous. It's not envy, where they want what you have. Um, but it seemed like to me, out of all these that we've helped to create and bring up and everything, that there'd be a few of them that we could stand there beside and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" They'd be like, "Yeah, it's cool. It's all good, cool and groovy, man." So, you know, we're hoping for that at some point. But in any case, the sun's shining, the birds are singing. It's going to be a great and glorious day, obviously, and we're just going to follow along with the Father, the God of heaven, the divine masculine, if you will, as though there was any other divine thing. And the funniest thing is last night, the strangest deal is I know that I was, suddenly there was this. Now remember, I said not too long ago, I was told, you don't have to go out and tell the truth about what you've discovered. In other words, like, you could have a nice, cushy life. Of course, that's never availed itself to me, but it seems almost as though it is a part of me, this whole truth telling thing. Um, at least in as much as, if you could tell the truth about something and it caused somebody to avoid big problems or destruction, it seems like you have to, don't you? I mean, in other words, like, if you see a bunch of people all following the evil darkness into the pit of despair and death, isn't it incumbent upon us to, I mean, as people of heaven and light and life and all that, to say, hey, the truth of the matter is, you'd be better off not going that way, you know? But the reason why I say this is because last night I had this conversation that came out of nowhere. It seemed very excited, if not backed by anger, and it was like, well, you should, in other words, the gist of it was, perhaps, that you shouldn't say anything about witches. That you you shouldn't say anything about them, and because you don't want to get them on you, you know, otherwise, and like, they didn't want to get them on them, because otherwise they'd end up, all sad and sorry and depressed, and being a dependent, living in somebody else's house. And I thought, well, yeah, that it has been the result of it, hasn't it? Witchcraft, sorcery, all that good, or rather bad, evil stuff. But I guess that was my lesson. It's part of what I had to witness and to become um, too familiar with, for my taste, so that I could know what it was I was dealing with, I guess. It keeps on seeming like, I'm being conditioned and taught in ways so that it's like the truth of truths is ingrained in me, and I can speak it in the essence of it. What all these stories and lessons are, to the essence of it, it speaks this. It's like the story of Eve and the snake. Well, I mean, people want to say this, that, and another about it, And it really just comes down to the story says that the woman was susceptible to what the snake said. And so after becoming susceptible and falling because of the snake, turned around and used similar guile to get her partner to fall with her. I'm not falling. I'm not going into death and darkness. You know, those people that made those choices, that's their choices, and they pay for those choices. I don't pay for those choices. I don't pay for somebody doing witchcraft. I don't pay for them, doing any. I'm not here to pay for your sins, and no, I'm not going to. I've already paid way too much for a whole bunch of people that didn't deserve it. And we don't want to pay for anything. We don't want to suffer for anything or anyone, and we don't want to pay for anything or anyone. And we're just going to continue up and continue doing what we're saying. We're catching the messages. Something about yesterday there was some messages that sounded like it was the same old black dog bullshit, and I'm like, nah, we ain't doing that. We don't want any of that. I'm not taking a job with that corporation. I'm not going to be doing that work, and I don't want any of those bitches. It's as simple as that. You know, we're not contracting with Haman. We didn't contract with anybody. Remember, this wasn't by our consent. It wasn't by knowing consent either. So we're just going to move on past that, and I guess follow this path up to guys. Again, the thing of it is what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is there's this, what's wrong with modern women and society and everything? Well, it's just simply this. It's not men against women. It's the women who are following a different God than the Christian God. And they're calling it the goddess, but it's not very much for their happiness. Certainly it's not for them having, marriages and children and anything wholesome. I've been seeing it, and I see it, and it's like there it is, and it's so obvious, and it's the devil. It is the darkness, because whenever you're saying that you're a goddess and you're the prize and you're a 10 and all this, that, and another, and you're so deserving of all these things, another word for that could be delusion or conceit. Okay, and it is narcissism. And that's all I see. I saw a woman today trying to argue for her acting like a man. Well, the men ain't doing it, right? So it stands to fall that, and using some backward ass interpretation of a passage, how God's going to make the trees and the rocks cry out. Well, why wouldn't he make women cry out to do his work? Or, well, I guess he could. But the big problem, all of it that's been going down and has been going on for a long time, is women wanting to take the place of men. That's all it is. That's all it is. There's this damned thing out there that's calling itself a god and knows how to speak to women. I guess it's the snake. And it really, really is about having them undermine their own future and having rewarding, fulfilling lives, undermining their chances of having a family or children, and experiencing that type of fulfillment, and basically undermining all their chances of having actual love. If you've noticed, in all these things that people talk about in these modern relationships and dating and so on, what's most conspicuous is any consideration of love. So yeah, I was a little yesterday. I was looking at it going, well, gee whiz, if we're on our own with God, then that's all it is, and that's all it'll be. And we'll just keep on going. We'll just keep on winning. The story doesn't change, day in and day out, night after night. It's the exact same story. I win. Remember, it's written in the book that they decide to play by. It is written. I win. No matter what story or circumstances you drop me into or put me into, I'm the winner. I'm the one who's made the victor. My enemies and competitors within that story are defeated. They is defeated. And it's without me even hardly even have to try, because the heavens are protecting me. That's the way it goes. And everybody knows. It's going to be warmer today. I mean, warmer tomorrow, and warmer tomorrow. It's going to be more of those spring-like temperatures again. Encouraging. So again, it's working, guys. Those of you who are for me, and yeah, I've seen the my gosh, the manipulations by the other side is just amazing. You know how many different ways they can and do work it. Of course, after so many years of this, you do become an expert on the enemy, don't you? And you're able to spot them, even if you're blind. You're blind as me. I can look at them and be like, yeah, I can even look at them these days. Okay, I can even look at them, just look at them, and many times tell which side they are. But of course, certainly, if you listen to them, they all have the same rhetoric. They're all going blah 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 blah. The God that hates the other God tells me that blah 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 blah. And you know, the war of sexes. Well, okay, the women lose. That's where they go, because the God of the heaven, the man, you know, he's the winner. That's the way it goes. And you know, being the son of heaven, I'm the winner. That's the way that goes. You can't start out with the premise of you hate this other thing and expect yourself to be the God, and those who are worshiping that goddess to come out as anything other than the hater. You know, hate is what it is, and you can say you're worshiping the goddess or this or that, but if you've got hate, you've got hate, and I'm pretty sure that that is your true God, and unless you're trying to deny it and you know, rebuke it and renounce it and so on, and consciously do all these things to say, no, I'm not going to be a disciple of that evil, that darkness. Which, you know, that's all I've been doing for the last 20 years, it seems like. Plus, all my life, you know, I've been tested again and again. And it was like there were so many lines that I was pushed across that I would not have normally crossed if I'd been in my right mind and not so very influenced by the damned. Which, you know, there's various forms of love, but the thing of it is if your love comes with, but we hate what you are and that you got a pair, that's not love. That's just you're hating my God. You're hating the man in the sky. That's all. And oh, and by the way, again, you know, this thing about the women saying they're the prize and this and that and so on and so forth. I saw one the other day saying we're the creators of life, and no, you're not. It's the man with his testicles that creates the sperm, according to science, and that is the life that is created. Then the life as a seed is planted into the fertile ground, hopefully fertile, the woman, in which it grows up and out of, and she gives birth to. The man is the creator, the woman gives birth to. I guess I could create some clarity. I'm thinking of using little drawings like my good buddy, the Ho Math guy. I was like, yeah, little stick figures, I can do that. People like these illustrations. Yay. But if nothing else, it'll be a pretty picture. I'm going to start working on how to get some of these technical issues done. We can feel the motivation returning to us. I'm real glad. And you know what? Even if I can't have the kind of people I want because they end up strangely becoming my enemies, I'm still inspired by the sunshiny smiles that I've been seeing and always have been watching. I'm real glad about all my guys and what they're doing to help. Guys, take care. Don't give them an inch. Just use every form of everything that's available to you to take them out and put them down, get them out of the way.